What's up guys, my name is Andy. I recently completed the Crown Vic swap on the front of my 1968 F100, and now it's time to take care of the rear of the truck. And what I want to put in there is the whole rear carrier assembly out of a 2016 Mustang. Let's take a look at this system and see what we're working with. So what I have here is the rear carrier assembly out of a 2016 Mustang with around 54,000 miles. And from 2015 and newer, this is the whole system that you're looking for to put in these trucks. Really the biggest difference is going to be the differential, whether you've got a limited slip in there or whatever gear ratio you have. That's going to be the big difference between this system and the next one. There's a couple different ways to find out which one you have. One of the ways to tell is if you've got the temp sensor, which I took out of here. You've got to have, there's this sticker right here will tell you about the limited slip inside there, and if it's got like this has 3.73 to 1 gear ratio here, and I have a Torsen limited slip differential instead of a clutch type. That's what I wanted in this setup, so that's good. And then I've got the disc brakes, which is fantastic on my upgrade, because on my truck right now I've got the drum brakes in there, so I want to do that big upgrade on that. And what's great about this whole system is it's just going to bolt right into the truck using a kit from Range Industries, and we'll go over that later. But the big thing is getting one of these assemblies to put in the truck. It is a little bit wider than the stock setup, the stock axle back there, so you're going to have to be mindful of that when you get whatever wheel size that you pick. You're going to have to work with the offset or the back spacing of those wheels to make sure that you don't stick out too far on the side of the truck. But other than that, oh, and then you're going to need some coilovers, because the stock springs and the shocks that go in here won't easily mount to the truck. Now you can make it work, but with the kit that I'm installing, I'm just getting some coilovers for this, and I can skip that stock suspension setup and get coilovers. Then I can set the ride height, which is perfect to match with the Crown Vic front end on this truck. Another thing you're going to want to pay attention to is the front of the differential comes with it's like a CV joint style of coupling for the axle or for the driveline. When Range Industries sells one of these yokes, so when you're ordering all this stuff, you can get the right size you need for that. Now I had this differential gone through before we did this install here. I had them take it apart and replace the seals on either side of the axle there, and then have them replace this pinion seal up front while we installed this new yoke, and had them go through, make sure that the gears are happy inside and everything looks good, and he gave me the thumbs up on that, so that's good. So other than that, this is ready to go. I also painted the housing, just put some of that black rust encapsulator stuff from Eastwood, and sprayed that down just to protect that. And I also hit up some spots on the frame of this whole carrier assembly just to kind of clean it up a little bit. I was talking about that temperature sensor for the differential earlier. You don't need that unless you've got a system that can plug into it to monitor the temperature. You're not going to need it. You know, you can just leave it in place and just unplug it from the harness, or you can take it out. This is what it looks like. And really this thing, it's just a hole bored into the housing cap, and it doesn't even go into the fluid. The tip of this sensor just rests against the back side of that hole on this cap and just does a temperature through conduction, and just reads, the temperature of the fluid that's touching this cap on this differential. But you can get a plug like this. Now I have these on my website, KruseBuilt.com, if you want to just get a plug just to clean it up. Again, you can leave it out and nothing's going to hurt anything, but I didn't want to get any dirt or anything inside that hole, and I really didn't want to leave the sensor in there. I don't want anything to happen to it, so I may use this down the road. So I just went ahead and put a plug in there and just cleaned it up and just get this whole back side of this assembly looking nice and new and ready to go. Another important feature on this brake system here is this fitting right here where the brake line was cut off. This is a metric fitting, and if you're going to use your brake lines on your F100, you've got a metric fitting here and you've got standard size fittings on the truck. And they don't make, I couldn't find a fitting that's got a metric on this end and then it's standard on this end. So I had these made. In fact, I also sell these on my website too, KruseBuilt.com. But what it's going to do is going to allow me to thread into the stock brake line here, and then I can thread the stock brakes of the F100 truck into this end here, and then it's also got a length of tube, but we can form this if we need to fit it around something, and I'll mount this to the side of the frame of the truck and then get everything installed. And you're going to need one for both sides if you want to utilize this system here. I guess you could take it off all the way back here at the caliper, but you're still going to run into the same problem where you've got metric fittings on the calipers of the system and standard fittings on the truck. So I've got everything cleaned up and ready to go with this whole assembly. Everything's freshened up, the seals are new, painted, got the brakes figured out. I'm ready to go. I took the stuff off here that I'm not going to need. I'm ready to put this in the truck, but I need to prep the truck. That's the next step, is getting this truck ready to accept the bracket system that's going to hold this whole carrier assembly to the frame of my truck. So now what I want to do is get everything out of the way. I've got to get this whole differential, this whole back axle out of the way. I got to get the leaf springs out of the way. Got to get this driveline disconnected, get the shocks undone, get the brake, the parking brake disconnected, get everything removed. And I even need to take these mounts for the leaf springs off of the truck, because I'm going to utilize the holes in this frame for the bracket system that's going to hold that whole S550 rear differential assembly. So I got to go through, take everything apart, and I'm not going to save anything. So if anything gets damaged, I'm not really worried about it. If you guys wanted to save your parts, just be a little more careful when you're taking stuff off. But when you remove these brackets for the leaf springs, that's kind of a one-way trip, because they're riveted on, and we're going to cut the heads of those rivets off and drive everything out and more or less destroy the bracket. So again, like, this is a one-way trip, but you're probably thinking that anyways. If you're going to do this system, you're not going to go back. And as I was saying, we're going to use the holes in the frame for the Range Industries mount system. I'm going to cover that in the next video on installing that whole kit and get everything put into the truck. The purpose of this is to get everything prepped and ready to go, get the frame all cleaned up and ready to accept the new brackets and the new differential system that's going to go here in the truck. All right, this is a good place to stop right here. Now we need to lower the truck so that I can undo the bolts for the leaf springs and we can drop this whole assembly down off of the truck. I did want to point out, you probably noticed these gloves. These are from Craig, 909 Speed Company. You guys probably, if you're doing anything with your F100, you probably watch him in his videos. He's been a big resource for stuff that I've done with this truck, and I even got to meet him at SEMA. He's a pretty cool guy. So I actually like these gloves, and I like these kind of gloves, so I was happy to help him out. So maybe if you guys go over to his channel and check out 909 Speed Company and maybe get yourself a set of gloves and be good to go in your truck. So, all right, let's go ahead and drop this thing down so we can get this last assembly out of here. So I already took the nut off of these bolts here on the leaf springs. I might have to do the shackle ones instead of that. I'll figure that out here in a minute. But now what I want to do is knock these bolts out, and then I've got these sawhorses here just to catch this axle or this this rear end here so that we can get this off the truck. I may have to take the exhaust out of the way too, but ultimately, I mean, I could have put this lower to the ground, but with these sawhorses, then I can lift the truck back up and I could just take it off the sawhorses. But let's drive these out and drop this on the sawhorses. And then just like that, you get the bolts out. Hopefully yours aren't seized inside of the sleeves, inside the leaf springs here. That can happen. I got lucky in all mine. I just put the nut on the end of the bolt there and just tapped on it with a hammer and drove it out the other side. Same thing for all four corners here. So let's lift this up, and then we might have to pry this out of that little, whatever that Flex-A-Leaf thing or whatever that thing's called back there. Should come out of there pretty good, and then I'll leave this axle on the sawhorses. See, my exhaust is getting in the way of this. As I go to lift it up, this exhaust is going to catch the back side of that, so awesome. Let's see here. Yay, that was easy. All right, so now I got to get this out of the way, but that's all right, I can drag it out of the way. I still may take the exhaust out just because I'm not sure how everything's going to fit in here, where that assembly is going to fit up inside. And I can always redo the exhaust on the road. It might work, but it might not. But let me just get out of the way, and then we're going to go after these brackets, and we're going to have to I think what I'm gonna do is do what I did when I did that Crown Vic swap. I'm just gonna cut an X into the head of the rivet and then just use a chisel, air chisel, and just drive that through, and maybe a grinder or something like that. I'm not gonna save these brackets, but I do wanna take care of the frame, so I don't wanna gouge into the frame. And we did the same thing on the back here, and on the other side. Yeah, I decided to get that exhaust out of there just to make it cleaner and easier to work with everything that's going to be in this area. So I went ahead and marked the head of the rivets that we need to take out that are in our way, because the brackets for this kit's going to mount in those locations. These ones right here, this is where the shock perch thing, so we got to get this out of the way because the bracket's going to be there. We got to get these out of the way. This one we don't need to remove. In fact, there's a hole in the mount kit to clear over this rivet because it's part of this whole brace piece here. So we're gonna leave that guy. And I went ahead and marked these because you're never gonna use this bracket again. There's no reason to hold on to it. It's not gonna do anything if we take it off. Let's just get it out of the way and just have a clean frame ready to go. Cool, so now that we got all those X's cut in there, we know what rivets we need to go after. Now I'm gonna get the chisel out and just smack the heads of these rivets off, and we can drive those through the frame. Holy cow, my arms are dead. Trying to work above your head. I mean, it's awesome having a lift, but swinging a hammer up here is hard to do, especially that heavy hammer. All right, we got the heads of those knocked off. I still got to finish these out, but what I wanted to show you is when you get that knocked off, then you've got the rivet exposed, and you can use like an air chisel and knock it out the backside. So we're gonna do that. And then there's also a nut on the top here that's holding this thing, and so we're gonna have to unbolt that, but cool. Okay, those rivets are gonna stay there. They're just being stubborn. I might be able to get them out later, but we saw these ones come out. It's pretty easy. Just again, put X in the head and you can knock the tip of that off, and you can just drive it out from this side. But these ones, good grief. Oh well, cool. So I'm gonna get the rest of these and then we'll be done with this side. And then before you know it, you're all done and you're ready for the next stage. Now another way you can take these rivets off, after you get the head cut off, you can drill a pilot hole in the face of the rivet and then drill a little bit bigger hole, like a 5/16 to 3/8 hole, and then you can use a punch and drive that out, and that'll take some of the pressure off of the rivet and allow you to drive it out through the metal instead of fighting it like I was. So it's another way you can do it. It takes a little longer, but if you're not in a hurry, then you could do it that way. So now we got this side done, we've got the other side completed, everything's all done, and you end up with a mess of parts all over the floor, which is fine, it's not hurting anything. But what I want to do now is I want to start getting this prepped for the next stage, and I'm going to just get a wire brush and just take off all of this loose rust stuff, the surface rust, and I'm actually going to coat the frame with this rust encapsulator stuff that I had used before, and get everything cleaned up and ready to go and smoothed out for the next phase. Holy cow, my arms are so dead. It even hurts to hold the camera up. Okay, so we got everything just kind of cleaned up. I wanted to get that loose surface rust stuff off there. We don't need to grind it down to bare metal because that rust encapsulator is going to do its job and just encapsulate the rust. I probably could have done a little better job over there, but what I want to do is just get that loose stuff off of there and then get everything prepped. I'm going to use that spray encapsulator stuff on here just to get the frame nice and clean and ready to go for the next phase. All right, that looks pretty good. We got a lot of it covered, at least what I think we need to get covered. I put a couple of coats on here, still a little wet, so we're drying. And I went ahead and started spraying some other parts of the frame. In fact, I even worked my way, up underneath the cab, underneath here. Started spraying some of the stuff there, but that stuff goes pretty fast, so get yourself a couple of cans, but it's gonna turn out pretty good. And now we're really kind of in the best spot to start the install for that S550 rear end. We got to get that guy put in the truck. All right, guys, so that's a good place to stop. I think we did a lot of work to get this thing prepped for this to go in. The next video is going to be going over the kit to install this and what we're going to do to put that to the frame, and see how it's amazing how easy it's going to be to install this on the truck. So we'll do that in the next video, but for now, we're in a good spot. Frame's ready to go. Everything's cleaned up, everything's removed, it's out of our way, and that takes care of that. So we'll the next video, we'll get this one going. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next one.